final in hopes that we can replicate and go a couple better this time around. I've got Hesketh. I've got Albert. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Up the Palace.
And I've got a beer. You're going to love this one, Albert. It's from Yonder. It's
over there. I thought you said you had it already.
Mango, guava, and passion fruit tropical crush.
Yeah, Yonder is where that should fucking stay.
Triple fruited tropical sour, 4.5%.
You can still not as exotic as what you drink, Hesketh.
What? Got a glass of water?
Yeah. This week.
Guess what?
Oh, I mean, it looks nice, but not for a beer.
It does look like Lilt.
It's been a while, but it's got a blurb. Our signature smoothie-esque sour beer base has been given the triple fruits treatment to create Tropical Crush. It is loaded with hundreds of kilos of mango, passion fruit, and guava puree for a totally tropical taste.
It's a fucking daiquiri, isn't it?
He's giving it a smell.
Lovely. Delicious. Very good. What you got, Albert? Your undelivered beer.
Yeah, I had to get it myself this week. I've got a Mao.
Is it a little red book?
Mao.
Oh, it's a little red can.
Spanish beer, isn't it? It's the one that's not Cruz Campo.
It's just a communist joke to everyone listening.
Hesketh, water.
Yeah, I did have a Jubal, but
nice.
A Jubal.
A Jubal.
I'm not showing it because you're going to rinse me. It's a beer.
It is a fruity beer, isn't it?
It is a fruity beer.
Oh God.
Peach beer cuts with peach.
But I finished it because Albert pushed the record time back again, so I'm on the water now.
Anyway, in the turn up for the books, I've been learning how to hypnotize, and Albert, I reckon I can do it to you over the screen.
Oh God!
Because when I click my fingers, you're going to forget that you were ever a Watford fan.
I think I'm falling for that one.
Sorry.
I may be turning 14 in the next week, but I do have the internet. I have seen that viral clip.
For not playing along, I will be leaking the venue of your 40th birthday party.
Go for it.
Some people might turn up.
Yeah, hopefully.
Tommy Mooney suite in the Rookery End, or whatever it's called.
Right. Textor's been up to no good again. Last time it was linked with Russian oligarchs. Now he just can't do math, Hesketh?
Yeah. Like every time I see Textor's name on social media, like I roll my eyes before he've even started, and then you watch the video, you hear what he has to say, and then your eyes roll back so hard from rolling them, you're like The Undertaker. So this time, he, for some reason, was doing a press conference in France about Lyon and their books, and started off by saying, we spent this much money and we've recouped this much money, and we expected to have a deficit of so much. And then he looked again, he went, no, wait, we actually spent this and now we've recouped that, so the deficit is this. And then he looks confused. Someone says something off camera. He says, I'm just reading my own notes and I think they're wrong. This goes on for like 2 minutes. And then he says, well, you know what I mean. No one knows what he means. So with that backdrop, he's also then done an interview with Sky where some of the quotes that have come out are sort of not surprising from him, but also he just needs to shut up and bugger off. One of them starts with no disrespect to Crystal Palace. Not a great start. They have wonderful fans, but they've never had a sense of greatness and being on top and then losing it.
Wasn't there in 2016 FA Cup final?
But what does that mean? What does that even mean?
I think he's saying Everton won the league once and now they've been shit for 25 years. I think.
Oh, okay.
But then he's also basically gone on, I guess, talking about Everton and said, I want to get my takeover completed by January so we can spend money in the transfer window. So I'm sure he's trying to get Everton fans on side with that sort of stuff.
It sounds like he should probably check his maths first.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great way to endear yourselves to fans by getting maths wrong. And then the answer is we've lost money.
The good news is we made a lot. The bad news is we spent more.
Yeah. Well, I think he was saying 30th of November is when his period of exclusivity with Everton ends or whatever it is. So he said he would hope that the deal is well in place before then so they can work on the January transfer window to improve whatever their position might be at that point. He said that, again, repeating that he's got two good offers and that or the owners of Palace might still want to buy it. This sounds like to me he's got no one and he's trying to make stuff happen. But yeah, I can't see him being owner of Everton by 30th of November, to be honest. Just can't see how that happens.
He always talks with so much like certainty about stuff, even though the words that he's saying are, I'm uncertain about it. He's done that like the whole time he's at Palace as well.
He's manifesting it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he can manifest away, let it happen.
Yeah, manifest quicker, mate.
As long as the right people get his shares, of course. And might be people from abroad. And our players have been all over the freaking world this week playing football. We've had Kamada sit on a bench for Japan in a 7-0 win over China. How China have fallen. Might be talking about one of our former Chinese players later. But he did win a penalty for Japan in a 5-0 win against Bahrain. So,
worth the trip.
Worth the trip, yeah.
Worth the trip then.
Log in those air miles.
Ismail Assar has scored a penalty for Senegal against Burundi. Burundi. Good. Mark Gay and Eberechi Eze both got 2 more caps for England. Gay got 1 starting there, Ebbs 2 off the bench. Couple of slightly better touches. He probably gets a couple of goals, Eze, against Finland. But it's weird watching him not be the man, He's the one playing the flicks as opposed to the flicks being played to him to score. So interesting. Chris Richards captained USA against New Zealand, in which Turner also played in goal for USA that day and conceded a very bizarre late equaliser akin to that goal we was talking about against Birmingham in the late 90s where we got a late equaliser against them. But defender sort of kicks it against their player. It loops up over the goal and goes in. Ideally, Albert, Munoz and Lerma both played 90 minutes twice.
Feast or famine, isn't it? International level for our players.
They did beat Argentina, though, in the second game, winning 2-1.
Any scraps?
Not this time around. I think
that was a shame.
Although Martinez, the goalie, sort of got in a scrap with the camera because it turns out he's a fucking terrible loser, got annoyed and pushed the cameraman.
Oh.
Which is quite funny because he's a twat.
He is a bit.
The goalie, not the cameraman.
Well, he might be, you don't know.
He might be.
And then interesting stories coming out of Sierra Leone, Hesketh.
Yeah. I think it was his second cap. So he got his first cap. Hindelo Mustafa from our academy got called up for these 2 friendlies. Can't remember who his debut was against, but he scored in his second game, I think against Zambia. Unfortunately, they lost. But to get called up for any national team, really, at 18 and get a goal so quickly is pretty good. And he scored a really good goal for the academy earlier this season too. So a really good start for him.
So good week for the academy, but also bad week for the academy in that former academy graduate Michael Boateng has been caught with £1.5 million worth of crystal meth, Albert.
Oh. Misunderstanding? Can
also,
someone quantify that? What, not being a
lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Breaking Bad. 1.5 million.
Yeah, but
how old is he?
He's crystal meth is red and blue, not just blue.
Nice. How old is he?
He's 31 now.
Yeah.
Oh, old enough to know better.
He looks a lot older.
Yeah, he never played for the first team, did he? He went off. He was a right back. Ended up at Bristol Rovers, Sutton as well, I think. But he's also served 16 months in prison for attempted match fixing fraud. And he's also had 2 previous prison sentences for other drug-related offences. So I fear that the book might be thrown at him this time around in some severe way.
Fucking Heisenberg. Jesus.
Yeah. Former footballers doing a lot of heavy lifting in that lifetime.
Yeah, going from getting knocks as a footballer to the one who knocks.
Yep.
Yeah, that. I don't know. That's awful. But anyway, no crystal meth on the streets in the UK, please. Get rid of that. Okay. Leicester at home. Do you remember the last time we played them at home?
Number 10 or number 7 for Crystal Palace. Just shy of the hour. It is Eze! Oh, Palace strike back in real style. Off the bar, off the keeper, and into the back of the net. Eze with the first goal of the Roy Hodgson era. Well, you've got to feel sorry for the goalkeeper there. What a strike it is, though. Mayu should be the last thrust forward here from Palace. 30 seconds plus whatever the referee adds on. Here's Mateta. Great turn! Great finish! Would you believe it? Off the bench and into the hearts of the Selhurst faithful.
Nice bit of commentary at the end there. Very poetic. Hesketh, whenever I think of this goal, I remember the camera angle where you can see you just go absolutely fucking bananas.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That was a great goal.
Was it the one where he clearly didn't mean the first touch?
I mean, I think he went on to prove that he did actually mean the first touch over the next year, to be honest.
This is the Mateta Vendettas back in full effect.
Special game, though, wasn't it, Hesketh, at Selhurst, that one? Roy Hodgson just come back looking to what we desperately needed a win.
And we
us on our way.
Even though we went 1-0 down, we were absolutely battering them. I think that might have been the game where Brendan Rodgers afterwards were like, "Oh, it's a real kick in the teeth because I don't think we deserve to lose." And we'd had like 30 shots and they'd had 2. But yeah, it was great. It was one of those games, like you say, it really lifted the spirits. Getting the win at the end was obviously amazing, but because we'd obviously had a bit of a barren run up until that point under Vieira, being able to see us attack and have that many shots was a nice change, and to actually get the last minute winner with a great slip pass by Ayew, by the way, who I'm sure we'll go on to talk about, really sort of was a catalyst to us pushing up the table a bit and having a really good end to the season.
I remember Wilf being particularly electric in that game and being quite unlucky to not score. And I remember Edouard being quite unlucky in that game as well, playing really well, but not scoring. And then obviously what we've just heard happens, and it being like another tap in the nail in the coffin in his career. It's like, he's played so well and he didn't get the goal, but Terence turned up, miscontrolled it, and scored a winner.
So obviously Leicester went down that season, came back up, and head back to Selhurst. Is it is it a must-win, Hesketh? Now, the stat that is sort of creeping around in the background is that Glasner only has one win without Elise in the team.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with each league game that goes by that we don't win, now Elise is gone, it might pick up pace. Do you hold any creed in that stat, or do you just think it's just nonsense and it will turn around?
Yeah, it will turn around. I mean, I don't. It sounds stupid. I don't think it's a must win because we're only 4 games or 3 games in. Obviously, it's not great if we're not beating Leicester at home. When you think about how good we were at home under Glasner last year, I mean, the Elise stat, I don't think it's going to turn into the Wilf one that we got every year for like 10 years. Obviously, it's going to be difficult not having Elise when you've had Elise, and he was absolutely on fire at the end of last year. But I think we've talked about it already this season, our performances for the most part have actually been pretty good. So whilst we haven't won in the league this year, it's not that we've been shit and haven't had any shots and haven't looked like we know what we're doing. In fact, the last performance we saw, the second half against Chelsea, I thought we were actually very good. And I thought Kamada played well, and Doucouré coming back and making a difference, and sort of seeing everyone sort of fall back into the way we were playing at the end of last year. We should, I hate saying stuff like this, but we should be winning at home to Leicester. I don't think they've had a brilliant start. We know what we're capable of. I think that's the thing. Obviously, it's difficult to fall back when you're not winning on saying, yeah, but we know that we can be good. But I think if we score the first goal, I think we'll be all right. In the league, we haven't scored the first goal yet. In the one game we have scored the first goal, we won 4-0. So obviously that was in the cup, but that's what we were good at. So I think if we score the first goal against Leicester, we should be all right.
Albert, new players, they will be available. We've had Shalabar scoring with the outside of his boot into the top corner in training videos, which means he won't hit a fucking barn door.
Where it counts, yeah.
A lot of players have been away on international duty. We've talked about Kamada being all the way out, far away. Sar's been away.
Yonder
indeed. They've all been in the tropical crush of international football. But do you think that gives, your likes of Nketiah maybe a chance of starting in this game, given that they've been in London at the training ground, learning the Glasner ways, and there's probably going to be some tired legs if you factor in Lerma and Munoz playing 180 minutes and things like that. There might be some holes in the team available.
Yeah, probably. And I think it's always good to have, when you're on fire and you're ripping through teams, international break can feel like a bit of a momentum killer, but obviously we've only really just started getting going. As Hesketh said, we've been playing fairly well. I can't say I haven't been sat there thinking, fuck, we really should have won that game. We've been playing decent enough, and Eze's been unlucky with refereeing decisions and whatnot, and hitting the bar 28 times in the last 3 games, whatever. But I think the international break's probably come along at a good time. Like you say, Terence, bedding in the new players, even if they don't start, at least they've been in and around the environment. Couple of players getting a bit sharper, Doucouré being one of them. Obviously, there's this issue, or I'm using the word issue, it might not be an issue with Wharton's, was it groin or hamstring, which is why he's on the end of the 21s. So, he's had a bit of time to recuperate, and you just hope that, we're not coming back and going away to Man City or Liverpool. We're coming back to, no disrespect to Leicester, we're coming back to, on paper, what is one of the easiest games of the season. And you hope that combination of players who needed a rest, having a bit of rest, new players who needed bedding in, being bedded in, hopefully we come out, we can put across a more semi-convincing performance, and hopefully an even more convincing scoreline. But yeah, I think you put Nketiah in. He's got Premier League experience. He's been at Arsenal. He's been around. He knows what the Premier League's about. Fuck it, why not put him in? I think Mateta has looked knackered, obviously, I think from day one because of the Olympics. No disrespect to him. It's completely understandable. Why not throw Nketiah in and see what happens?
Yeah, it will be interesting. Hesketh, do you see it that it will be either Matetier?
You've just merged those players.
Yeah, I've made a new McJedley or whatever it is. Do you think it's going to be either Mateta or Nketiah, or do you think he's going to try and find a way to get them both in?
Yeah, I don't know, actually. I mean, in my head, Nketiah's a striker, an in-the-box striker. But there's been a lot of talk about him being able to play as a narrow 10 or whatever we're calling them. You know, he's good with the ball at his feet and he's got good vision and that sort of thing. So it's a really tough one. I mean, it's hard to know without having seen him play for Palace. I would imagine we'll probably start JP and then bring Nketiah on. But yeah, I mean, I really have no idea what he's thinking, because he seems quite wedded to the formation or the system that we play. So to then play with two up front is a bit of a departure. We've only really seen him do it when we're chasing a game. So it's something I'm really interested in seeing. And sort of similarly, I guess I'll put it to you, Terence, defensively, do you reckon we're going to see the two new centre halves in? Or do you reckon that he will sort of ease them in, maybe play them in the cup instead?
Well, again, I think a lot of that depends what sort of shape Chris Richards comes back in from the States. Like, I imagine he's probably not going to arrive back until late tomorrow. It'll be the same for Lerma. It'll be the same for Munoz. Depends what state they come back in. Ideally, you don't want to throw two new centre-backs into a back three immediately. So unlikely to see both of them, I reckon. Maybe one. I imagine Klein will be playing as another one, but we'll just have to see. I mean, we're only guessing, but you know, it would be nice to just see that, like Gay, Lacroix, Chalobah, just as for that hour and 15 before kickoff. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
and we might score from a corner. Who knows? But yeah, I'm really interested to see what he does. You say he's wedded to the formation. If you cast your mind way back to when we first appointed Glasner, we had Florian Marburg on from Sky Sports in Germany, and he talked about how he, after a few games playing a back three with Wolfsburg, I think it was initially, or it might have been Frankfurt, I can't remember which one it was, that after a while realised it didn't work and then moved to a back four. So I think that he has got scope for changing things up in there based on the players he's got. So who knows? It might end up being more of the five at the back with the two, and then 110 with two strikers, and with Nketiah and Mateta both prepared to come short and link up play. So maybe he sees a way getting them both in around that. But there's a lot of flexibility in there. Sarr's been promising when he's come on, showed a lot of energy. Kamada's looks great in moments, not so great in other moments, but a lot to learn about English football. Eze obviously in there,
and Rob Holding.
Rob Holding probably won't be anywhere near the team. Good to bring him up. Deleted all Palace related content from his social media.
We've all done it.
That's like you going into your Wikipedia and deleting movies you were on that you don't like.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, it's
unliking that tweet when we announced our ventilation partner. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, everyone thought 4 million was a decent sign in there for a backup centre back, but it might be the biggest waste of money ever. Was it? I saw someone say, I think it might have been Joe Weller saying that he might end up on the Mount Rushmore of Palace terrible signings based off of this. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, he's old enough to know better than to throw his toys out the pram like this, surely. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I mean, I assume he thought he'd get some games, and now he's seen us literally just keep buying players in his position, so he's thrown a wobbler.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many Palace pictures he could have had on his Instagram, to be honest with you. But yeah, deleting them is a bit silly, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. Back to Leicester. Hesketh, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is Jordan Ayew to score?
If people around me fucking clap, 10. I'll say it again. I've said it a million times. Don't clap former players. Do it after we've won.
So you're not going to clap Jordan Ayew?
I'm not going to clap Jordan Ayew.
It's his birthday yesterday, wasn't it?
All the years I've unfollowed him on Instagram. That's fine. Unfollowing players when they leave is fine. I don't think I even followed Rob Holding to start with, to be honest. But
do you follow Wilfried Zaha?
Yeah. That's Wilf, though, isn't it? He's different. He doesn't count. I'm grinning. I don't know if you can even hear it in my voice through the airwaves. I'm grinning. I love Wilf. I reckon Ayew's going to do really well for Leicester, to be honest. I think he's a great signing. And I know a lot of their fans were bemoaning it when they announced it. But
he's already scored a couple, hasn't he?
He scored a banger in the League Cup.
In the Cup, yeah.
But he's just a sort of player, if they're scraping 1-0 wins, I'm sure a lot of them will be because he's done a lot of legwork at the end of a game to keep the ball up the pitch and whatever. I hope he doesn't score on Saturday and that we win with a clean sheet. I'll clap him off at the end of that.
Very nice. So is that what you're going to say? You're going to say a clean sheet in your prediction?
No, 1-0.
He's back. The default setting has been applied. Alberts?
3-0.
Yeah, 3-1 Palace.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Since the last pod, well, it was just when we finished recording the last pod, we drew QPR away in the next round of the League Cup. Third round now, isn't it?
Third round, yeah.
Yeah. So, Albert, you're coming along?
Yeah.
Very good.
Secured my uncovered seat today.
Restricted view. I don't think there's pretty much a good view anywhere.
Definitely. No, not restricted, just uncovered. It made a big point of telling my seat was uncovered.
Are you in the lower?
Yes.
So I think all seats in the upper are restricted if you sit down because you can't see the goal line. But if you stand up, which I assume we're all going to do.
I'm about 8 rows behind the goal. I'll be very disappointed if I can't see the goal line.
Yeah. You're facing the wrong way.
That'll be like Dover away in the FA Cup that time. I was about three rows in the front and I couldn't see the goal line. Yeah, but any fond memories of Loftus Road, Albert?
No, do you know what? The only time I've been to Loftus Road was... Cool, what season would it have been? I think we had a really boring 0-0 in the Premier League, a really boring 0-0 game, and I sat in the fucking home end, which is probably the only time I've sat in the home end to watch Palace with a mate who had 2 season tickets. So I didn't get a ticket in the way end. So, come and I'll watch it. Thank fuck it was 0-0. But however, it was also one of the most fucking boring games ever. I'm sure it was. I'm trying to think when it would have been when they lost in the Premier League. It was dull. It was really dull. It was like shit.
Was it 14-15 maybe? Didn't they get promoted the season after us or something? Yeah, I think it was that Matt Phillips goal at Selhurst when we beat them 3-1.
Yes, remember that. Yeah, it was boring.
We'll slam into the post in that game, wasn't that one when he scored and he slid into the post?
That's the one.
Yeah, I've been there I've lost count. I've been there quite a few times down the years. I was there for the the famous Kevin Miller one that we'll eventually get onto when we do his book review.
One day.
One day it will happen, honestly. And been there for a couple of Clinton Morrison ones. Mm-hmm. The Marco Reich one, were you there for that?
No, I watched that one on telly.
Oh, it was on Sky, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
That was just before he got his contract, wasn't it? I think that's probably what got him his contract. And as soon as he got his contracts...
He was in his Tommy Black mode when he was like, shit, I need to score a couple of goals to get get the bag.
Tommy Black, Marco Rice, and John Oster.
Yeah, John Oster, fucking hell, grim.
The contract baggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was 14-15 was the 0-0, so I was there for that.
Yep.
I've got a 2-1 loss in 2011. That sounds lovely. I think that might have been the season they got promoted as champions.
I think it was.
Yeah, so I think that was the home game where Davids did the pass back.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been that one. 3-1 in 2005 is the Marco Reich one. Or, yeah, the 6-0. Oh, I've also been to Loftus Road for England under 23s 4, Russia under 23s 1. I think Matt Letizia got a hat-trick in that game. There we go. And a 1-0 win in 1997. So looking forward to going back there. It's been a while. Shithole. No, not a comfortable seat in the house. Not a good view in the house, but
I think well, isn't it? It gets a Selhurst is. I was going to say, what's the word? Selhurst is lambasted by most away fans for just being an absolute whatever you want to call it toilet. But Cube Loftus Road is definitely all right. I'm biased here, but there ain't a lot between it. Let's put it that way.
Like I said, so the only time I think I've been to Loftus Road 6 or 7 times, and the only time I saw us win was when we played pre-season a couple of years ago when half the squad was in Australia. And I went with Vanessa and I said to her, like, Loftus Road has everything that I like about a stadium, like tightly packed, close to the pitch, blah, blah, blah. But it's fucking terrible. Like, it should be great. Like, I should think it's great. But every time I've been there, I'm like, it's just shit. I don't like it at all.
Little shoebox.
Yeah.
Where our ground's like a shoebox that's got wet on every side and sort of expanded out a bit.
Yeah, so it's a shoebox for wide-fitting shoes.
I was just about to say.
Excellent. Albert, do you think it's a good draw? Bad draw? Indifferent? I mean, they've had a mixed bag to the start of the season. Lost at West Brom on opening day. Beat Cambridge 2-1 in the Cup. Got a decent 2-2 draw at Sheffield United with 10 men. Drew 1-1 with Rooney's Plymouth. Beat Luton in the Cup on pens after a 1-1 and then beat Luton 2-1 at their place a few days later. And they play Sheffield Wednesday this weekend away, which is obviously probably decent for us that they have to travel before coming back for a Tuesday night. So what do you reckon, Albert? Decent draw or a troublesome one? Potential banana skin?
Potential, the much fabled banana skin. I mean, they've been dire for the last couple of seasons, haven't they? But all of a sudden they turned it round for the last 10, 12 games at the end of last season. And like you say, they've been Luton, that were a Premier League club, albeit for 5 minutes, and had some good results. So can't say I'm steaming into it full of confidence. I guess it depends on what team we put out, what result we get this weekend, what we play the kids. I don't know. Probably get some of those. I think Hesketh already said it's a good opportunity to definitely bet in some of the new signings if they don't get many minutes on Saturday. So, yeah, I'm definitely nervy about it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think given the team he put out against Norwich, I think it's unlikely that he's going to put kids out. I think he's clearly wants to go after the cups. Mm-hmm. We all said it in our outrageous predictions at the start of the season that we might win a cup this year. So I think he's definitely going to go after it. Hesketh, you won't be clapping IU on the weekend. Will QPR fans be clapping Eze?
I hope so, because then that means he'll score. They should. Oh, I'm sure they will. Like, I think they put an advert when they on their website when the tickets came out, and it was like Eze returns to Loftus Road. So I was surprised they hadn't. This is going to make me sound like a complete knob. I'm surprised they hadn't sold more tickets than they have last time I looked, the home fans. But I'm sure they'll want to see Eze again. I mean, it's a great success story. Even though he left them, he's obviously done really well and is now in the England squad regularly, I would imagine. So yeah, I reckon they'll give him a clap.
No, I think it's the opposite. I think they're pissed off we haven't sold him, so they get their 20%, whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be that high with Eze. Is it 20%? Because we did pay good money for him. It wasn't like we did an Elise and stole him. I doubt we're paying like 22 million. 22 mil, was that it? 18 mil, 22 mil, something around that. 20% would seem a bit high on that. Be interesting to see what comes up.
What, the fee for Eze?
It was 16, wasn't it, Eze?
16? Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely lower. I thought it was definitely lower than like 15. I thought it was 12.
No.
Yeah. Elise was 8.
Are we going to have to Google it live?
Yeah.
Google it. I'm going 16.
I'm going 12. What are you saying to Terence? You got to say before you look it up.
Oh, well, I would have said 18, hadn't I?
All right, yeah, fair enough.
So
Albert's crossing his arms. He's
16 mil.
Plus inflation.
Okay, so as I've already said, Glasner wants to have a go at the Cups.
Mm-hmm.
Played a very strong team against Norwich, beat them 4-0 into the next round. I'm sure we'll be going as strong as possible again to try and get through to the next round. So right at the top of the show, I posed the question, will this be our year to win a cup? And we all obviously hope the answer to that is yes. But if it's a League Cup, we've got us thinking of other League Cup runs in the past, and we're going to have a little focus in on the 2000-2001 run to the semi-final in what was a very different looking League Cup than it is now, the Worthington Cup as it was at this stage. First 2 rounds, 2 legs, and not regional, not like it is now. Regional, 1 leg goes straight to penalties at full time.
The first 2 rounds were 2 legs.
We were in the first 2 rounds, 2 legs. So
I do not remember that.
Round 1, we get Cardiff, and first legs at Selhurst. Away goals do count double, and we win 2-1. And this is the report from the BBC that day. Crystal Palace got the better of Cardiff at Selhurst Park, with Clinton Morrison and veteran Neil Ruddock supplying the goals. Morrison netted after 19 minutes and Ruddock after 34. It was the big defender's first goal for the club since joining from West Ham. But Sam Hammam's return to South London had something of a silver lining, as Scott Young got an important away goal for Cardiff in the 55th minute. Crystal Palace will not relish the trip to Ninian Park, where the influence of Hammam saw over 11,000 fans turn up for Saturday's Division 3 game against Blackpool. Crystal Palace starting 11. Greg in goal.
Oh my God.
Fancy Hyatt, Neil Ruddock, Hayden Mullins, Simon Roger, Clinton Morrison, Tommy Black, Mikel Forsell, Wayne Carlisle, Jamie Pollock and Craig Harrison. With Jamie Smith, Jamie Fullerton, Dean Austin, Leon McKenzie and Julian Gray on the bench. And someone who would go on to play for Palace many years later in the starting lineup for Cardiff that day.
Danny Gabardon.
Very good.
Oh, what a shout.
Pulled it out of his arse. Love it.
Very good.
And that line in the BBC report that said Crystal Palace will not relish the trip to Ninian Park. I went to that game, the second leg, which we drew 0-0. And the coach pulled into the car park behind the away end, and written in massive graffiti across the wall in the car park, it said, "Die English scum," which was very, very welcoming. I think I was like 17 at this stage, and we get out of the coach and basically have to walk through a tunnel of police who are like protecting us from like objects raining down from the home fans. So it was just like properly mental there. They were out for blood. And So it was kind of a keep your nut down, don't let anyone see colours, don't wear colours, all of that kind of stuff. And then the teams come out and each Palace player, starting player, lumps a red and blue Crystal Palace football into the crowd, and one of them drops straight in my arms. I'm like, do I keep this? Do I get rid of it? What do I do with it? So yeah, on the way out, I shoved it up my jumper and I pretended I was Danny DeVito or Arnold Schwarzenegger, I guess. That's what was that movie? Was that Twins? What was that?
That was Twins.
Yeah. For the older listeners, shit movie watch. So we move on 2-1 on aggregate. Sorry, what you saying? It wasn't a shit movie.
Now is not the time, but we'll talk about this later.
Move into the second round, where again not regional, so it's a 2-legged affair against fucking Burnley.
So first round, not only is it not regional, it's fucking international.
Right. So we go to Burnley in the first leg, and it's 2-2. But the commentary for this game is sensational. It's a home fan commentator. Just feast your ears on this. First up, very, very strong innuendo first up.
Cox, strong, but dispossessed. Oh, that's a neat ball. Oh, and that's a goal. Straight away. It's been all Burnley, and then suddenly Palace take the lead. Well, a free kick given in a dangerous situation for the Clarets. Central position. He takes it quick. Oh, and it's in. So quick, in fact. Mikapopoulos, whatever, he wasn't ready, and that was 2-0. Graham Branch has gone right in there. Andy Cook's in there. Steve Davis is... Is it in? It's in! A goal! Andy Cook, I think. Perhaps. Who cares? Burnley pull. Now then, Payton. Chance for Payton, surely! Just couldn't get threaded through. Penalty! Good grief. The referee, well, all that we've said about this referee, right?
Well, we take it all back. Well, he gave a soft penalty at one end, he's given another one from the other. Only he saw it, I must admit, I never saw it, Dave. And all of a sudden he's pulled him back and given Burnley a penalty. Well, what a good referee.
Why did he go Geordie at the end?
Like 2-1, Palace get a penalty that, I mean, it's a clear foul when he just loses his nut saying, everyone's going to call me biased, but that's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's never a penalty. It is a penalty. Leon McKenzie just gets the wrong side and the defender just sort of basically leans on him and pushes him down from behind. And Fancy High misses the penalty. The goalkeeper saves it. Whatever his name is.
You know, whatever his name is.
Who also later came on loan to Palace.
Yeah.
Did, yeah.
And I mean, and their penalty is just shocking, appalling decision. And you wouldn't have got from that commentary there because he just did not care to say who scored for Palace. So as Mikel Forsell drills one across the keeper into the bottom corner.
That pasty ginger lad.
And Tommy Black scores a free kick from about 25 yards. Catches the keeper out napping.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. And the one when they scored their first one, when he's like, it's just...
He's like it's Burnley in Lancashire.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a Lancashire Alan Partridge.
But yeah, so disappointing to go back to Sellers with a 2-2, but obviously 2 away goals, which do prove key. Unfortunately, no Terry Byfield commentary for the return leg, although don't worry, we've got some Terry Byfield coming.
He couldn't find his small microphone.
But Burnley do take the lead at Sellers, but Andy Linnigan scores after Mitchell whatever spills the ball and Linnigan taps it at home and Palace go through it on away goals. And then we get into round 3 where we play the winners from the previous year.
From there, it was back to cup football and the start of City's defence of the Worthington Cup.
Roy stayed on his line. It was Harrison with the first header, and then Morrison to guide it in. And Palace have the lead. It's a goal they have been threatening, in truth. Steve Thompson. Palace playing it around here, confidently enough. Black. Thompson still. Oh! What a super goal. Well, Thompson scored against Leicester last season in the League Cup, and he's done it again. Here's Elliott's kick. Aiming for Benjamin. Not unlike Hesketh in his build. He certainly has a muscular presence. And now the counter raid is on again. Another very good strike and another terrific goal from Rubens this time. Fantastic. That is some way to score his first goal for Palace. I gave his team, unbelievably, a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, so 3-0 win at Filbert Street. I mean, if you've never seen the goals, it's on YouTube. You can look them up. 2 of them are they just get increasingly more ludicrous. Steve Thompson curls one into the top corner in the first half. But Hesketh, the Andre Rubins goal is just stupid.
Yeah. I think that's quickly to mention the Thompson goal, because I don't think that because of the Rubins goal, I think Thompson's goal doesn't get talked about nearly as much, because that's a great goal. But yeah, with Rubins, we'd all heard, I think the quote was Arsene Wenger said he's the fastest player I've ever seen, which we all took to mean like, boy, he's obviously good enough for Arsenal, will be amazing. And then we see his goal and we're like, see, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. It was just a rocket. Poor old Leicester didn't know what hit them. They got hit with the Latvian genius, Andre Rubins.
Yeah, it was a real great night that was, to go there and get a Premier League scalp. And just to say that Rubins goal, I'll just never forget it, just on the grounds that he's just running at 3 Leicester defenders. There's no one else with him. He's so fast, he's run away from everyone else. And he just looks around, like, quite comically, like looking around for people, like, I'll just shoot then.
Yeah.
And postage stamp, top corner, absolute rocket. Brilliant, brilliant goal. And then, somewhat shockingly, in the 4th round, we get drawn against the team that Leicester beat in the final the season before, which is Tranmere Rovers. And a 0-0's played out, and it goes to a lesser spotted penalty shootout at Selhurst Park.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so rare that we've had them. And it ended up being somewhat of a bonkers penalty shootout. You ready for the takers and the scorers? Palace take first. Dean Austin, no mistakes. Jason Kumas for Tranmere, Wayne Carlisle for Palace, and then we get our first miss. Nick Henry misses for Tranmere, but Hayden Mullins immediately misses for Palace. Then former Palace player, well, not former at this point, goes on to play for Palace, scores for Tranmere. Any guesses?
Crystal Meth guy?
Clint Hill, isn't it?
Clint Hill, very good. Tommy Black scores, Sean Flynn scores, Andrew Martin scores, Paul Rideout scores, and then Mikel Forsell misses. So we're now in sudden death, and it's if Graham Allen scores, we're out of the cup. I can't remember exactly when. I couldn't find a video. I don't remember if Kalinko saved this one. I know one of them goes into the upper tier of the Homestyle, but yeah, Graham Allen misses, Steve Cabba scores a Palace, and then Ruben Hazel misses.
Steve Cabba.
Mr. Loverman Cabba. And yeah, we somehow snatch victory from the jaws of defeat to move on into the quarterfinals.
I randomly have an anecdote about that penalty shootout. I was in the upper, I think,
Did you predict 1-1?
Did you catch the Tranmere penalty that ended in the other?
I caught some words because when Forsell missed, I dropped a C-bomb, which I don't think was quite as prevalent in 2001 as it is now.
At this stage, yeah.
And there was a woman a couple of rows behind me who did not like that word. And she was too busy moaning at me for being ashamed of I should be ashamed of myself, that she missed them also then missing or saving or whatever. So I probably turned around and said something stupid to her as well. Not my greatest moment, but the only reason I remember a 0-0 penalty shootout against Tranmere Rovers in the League Cup. If you're listening, sorry.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't have been her because we'd have been a liar, but I also think this could have been my stepmom's first ever game at Sellers Park as well. It's exactly what you want. 0-0 against Tranmere that goes into extra time and penalties.
Just how does she feel about swearing? Just
as I say, we were in the lower tier, and I think she's absolutely fine with a C-bomb. Well, she married my dad, so leave it out. Quarter final, we end up getting drawn against Sunderland, and it's the moment you've been waiting for, Albert, patiently. We've got some Terry Byfield commentary.
Yeah. Clinton Morrison, and in from Forsell after a terrible goalkeeping clearance. Palace in front. More cup glory sighted. The ability of the players to raise their game for the big occasion, the feature. They were brimming with confidence. The Sunderland squared it at 1-1. Alex Ray, the man that got it. But late on, it was to be a glory night. Forsell, almost. Morrison, almost. And for the crowd that had suffered the agony of penalties in the previous round, thoughts were turning towards that prospect when Clinton Morrison produced that moment of magic. It was enough. And did he like that?
Did he?
Sure, that's Byfield.
Is it not?
I'm not convinced
It
that's
must
Byfield.
be, surely.
I'm not convinced it's Byfield.
Because that's just from a season review. Was there anyone else doing them? I don't think there was anyone else doing them.
No one of that caliber.
I mean, he was sounding exceptionally bored for a quarter final of a League Cup.
Yeah, and that's what leads me to think it's not Terry Byfield. He does everything with such vim and vigour that I just don't buy that.
No, I think it depends where it is in the video, you see. Like, he's got some energy at the start, then he just plugs away until the end of the season, and then if there's a decent end, then he gets involved a bit more. All aboard.
All aboard.
But yeah, 1-1, Morrison and Forsell both hit the bar before Morrison gets it. I think it's Ruddock who just puts Morrison basically through on goal with his ridiculous header, and it goes half the length of the pitch. And a chop from Morrison gets in free of his man, and he scores to send finally a crowd. I think everything before this had been about 5,000-6,000 rattling around in all the stadiums, but finally got a good crowd in for this one. And it gets us a draw against Liverpool in the semi-final, which now we're back to 2 legs again, which I think is still the case now in the semi-final, isn't it? It's still 2 legs at the moment. So, magical night at Sellers Park.
Now Morrison, still alongside. Good interception though by Herpier. And he's set Hesketh on his way here. Hasn't got too much support. Might not need anyone. Still Hesketh. Owen's in the box now. It's Michael Owen. Now that's an extraordinary miss, which rather sums up his season.
Liverpool's only major honour in the last 8 seasons has been that League Cup success, the Coca-Cola Cup as it was then back in 95 under Roy Evans. They are desperate to change their fortune. Here's Hesketh now. Oh, it's a wonderful chance again for Emil Hesketh.
Not so delicate there.
Not sure. That's one way to do it. Now, it's Rubens. Oh, what a goal! It's Roger. Now Rubens. Harrison. Wasn't a bad ball in either. Morrison! It's 2-0 for Crystal Palace. A man has slotted into the central midfield alongside Gerrard here.
Yeah, Vishkam's come out and playing as an extreme wide player.
Oh, Lippmann has found some room. And there's a goal back from Schmitzer.
The Palace striker Clinton Morrison's after-match comments featured strongly in the build-up to the second leg. Clinton appeared to have a pop at Michael Owen.
Indeed. So, I mean, Owen misses a golden chance in the first half, as you hear in the commentary there, puts it over the bar. And Morrison talks about it later on in life, saying that he was just so naive. He'd never had that sort of attention on him before. And he innocently answered the question of, do you think you'd have put Michael Owen's chance away? To which he said, yes, which most strikers would have put it away. And then obviously papers, headlines blew it all out of proportion. And ends up with him, I think, 5-0. When we're 5-0 down in the second leg, he has an absolute swipe and misses the ball trying to hit a left-footed volley, and then the whole cop.
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah, he's in front of the cop, and the whole cop is just up, like giving him loads of abuse.
I also seem to remember that game being the first. I obviously watched that on TV, noticing Steven Gerrard and being like, "Who's this?" Because he was just everywhere. Absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, and it was a shame really that because Morrison scored to make it 2-1. I mean, it's an absolute thunderbolt from Rubens, disgusting goal again, and then the touch for the second from Forsell, like he pulls the cross down and nutmegs a defender with the touch, and Morrison slams it into the top corner, and Sellers just goes nuts. The team goes nuts. It's 76 minutes and we just don't have our heads on from kickoff, and Liverpool score straight from it. And that's obviously an away goal as well at the time. And it was just it felt like such a dampener that, you know, if we had 2-0 to take to Anfield, maybe we could have done something with it. But as with that away goal, and, you know, we then head up to Anfield and they just run us over completely. There's nothing quite like getting run over by Darren Murphy, you know, just like, I think he scored twice in that game. I think Kalinko gets sent off at 4-0.
Oh, yeah, Christ.
It was not ideal. And then ends with Clinton Morrison having a swipe. And yeah, but, you know, a brilliant run, really, and just showed what that team was capable of. But against the backdrop of an almighty slide down the league, which almost ended in relegation. And I think you end up with the final home game of the season is at home to Wolves, and fans are throwing their season tickets on the pitch in protest of, you know, we're going down, basically.
No good doing it then, end of the season.
Well, Alan Smith gets sacked. We've got 2 away games left at Portsmouth and Stockport, and the rest is history. So, but a great, such a iconic season, really, across the board, making the semi-final of that cup, having those Portsmouth and Stockport games in the last 2 games of the season. It was a really, really crazy season, really, and like iconic as well for the players we had. You know, that Morrison Forsell strike force. For me, just like, you know, being Ginger, just having that like little Ginger Michael Forsell swamped by those long sleeve TFG shirts, you know, and just scoring some brilliant goals throughout the season. I think they both got double figures between them, didn't they? It was good memories.
And I mean, now that we can look back on hindsight, we all know that Clinton Morrison is better than Michael Owen. So he was completely justified.
Yeah, just decided to go Birmingham instead of Real Madrid. I think that was where he made a mistake. He would have usurped Real up in the top.
Would have popped off.
Yeah, but brilliant cup run. You know, I think we all knew when we drew Liverpool in the semi that it was probably coming to an end there. But you know, I think it might have been mentioned in the commentary, only had one trophy in the previous 8 years at that point, Liverpool. So, and they go on to play. Who did they play in the final? Was it Birmingham?
Yeah.
And they won in extra time, didn't they?
Andy Johnson missed a penalty, didn't he?
Missed a penalty, yeah.
Before the great switcheroo takes place.
Don't.
But no, brilliant memories there. Love that season. Maybe if we advance into the League Cup a bit more, we'll go after the 10, 11, 12 season. Look back on that one. But lovely stuff. So it's back to normal now. We'll be recording Wednesday night for your ears on Thursday, where we'll have a review of Leicester and a review, hopefully, of victory at QPR. We'll all be in attendance in that game, so maybe grab a beer before, boys.
A fruity sour.
Fruity sour.
Up has disappeared.
Yeah. Tropical Crush. Lovely, lovely stuff. Congratulations to Yonder. That was excellent. But yeah, thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks for indulging our nostalgic run down the League Cup from 2000, 2001. And until next week, up the Palace.